I doing it?
Are the fuck?
Oh no, dude. That hurts, bro. I'm actually very sorry for doing that. Here, you got a slip. What does the slip do? Every time you see me in a grocery store, you get to just push my card over. I don't even give a fuck. I understand. You deserve it. Please don't actually do that though, please. I need my bananas and shit, bro.
Boy, if you don't get...
But in all seriousness, I bet you're wondering why we're here, but you see the thumbnail, you see the title, and we are gonna be going over, in honor of this amazing co-main we're about to get for the next numbered event. It's a super high stakes matchup for the division. It's very unpredictable. It's stylistically very fun, and both guys have tons of plot armor and are experiencing, you know, a bit of highs and lows recently. And Waz on an amazing win streak right now, and he really needs this top 5 win to really get a big fight next. And Paddy needs to show, man, like, can he bounce back with momentum against a proper high-level opponent who's dangerous as all fuck? And Benoit Saint-Denis, okay? So it's a bit of a goofy goober matchup, but in the best way possible, man. I love this fight. We love this fight. And in honor of it, we're going to be going over all of these guys' UFC performances here from their debut. Both of them got the plot armor, you know what I'm saying? So they skipped, you know, they alley-oop that shit. Over the Contender Series, they went straight to the main roster. It's like they're skipping NXT up in here, okay? All the way up until their most recent performances. We're gonna be ranking them based off of Hall of Fame, all the way down to bad showing. All of the tiers are pretty self-explanatory, but we'll get to them when we get to them. Make sure y'all got your snacks. Are you guys good? Please. All right, what do we got today? What do I got today? Oh, we got the Fairlife. We got a little bit that protein shake. Okay. That's they're pretty good. But let's just jump into it, man. Let's talk about Benoit Saint-Denis' debut against Zaleski dos Santos. We're gonna start low, I guess. I'm just gonna put it in bad showing, all right? Respectfully to the Frenchman, respectfully to BSD, okay? Always entertaining. But this is before we even knew that reputation. This was his debut, and obviously he was a marauder, an S-tier marauder on the regional scene. But for this debut against pretty decent comp, especially a few years ago, it's not that bad of a loss, but ultimately he really didn't have any moments. Like, most of his takedowns got shucked the fuck off, like it's prime McGregor putting his balls on Chad Mendes' forehead. And he got outstruck by like triple the amount of strikes, like it's Dragon Ball Sparking Zero or some shit. So BSD, a pretty lackluster debut, and he went on to do much greater things. So I'm just gonna put this in bad showing. Lost a unanimous decision. Paddy Pimblett's debut was pretty different because it was against Luigi Vendramini. All right, he's a mini Luigi up in here, okay? Watch the fuck out. But this fight itself, it was a 1-round scrap, and honestly, just objectively as a fan watching it, it was a fun fight. Like, Luigi was rocking Paddy, man, and this is where the reputation of Paddy just keeping his chin way the fuck up, you know? Bro acting like a Baki character, bro. You know what I'm saying? He's gotta tuck up that chin, he gotta walk up and try and steal the room, bro. Hell no. But Paddy was getting rocked. Paddy was getting hurt, and ultimately, though, Paddy was beating the fuck out of Luigi in his own right, okay? Or Vendramini, whatever the hell his name is, okay? Paddy had some great moments. Paddy was piecing him up, and ultimately, he got a round 1 TKO. Eventually dropped Vendramini pretty early on, or, you know, it's round 1. It's relatively early on. An impressive finish, but ultimately, it was very hard fought. And, like, even I believe DC afterwards was like, hey, man, you gotta chill with the head movement, bro. You gotta do something in there. So I'm gonna put this one in solid, ultimately. I probably should have started with that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to put it in solid. I just feel like, yes, it was a finish. Yes, it was in round 1, but ultimately not that great of comp. I'd actually rate Zaleski dos Santos a bit more proven and a bit above Vendramini here. And also, I mean, man, Paddy really had to go through a bit of adversity. Up next to BSD versus Nicholas Stolz. I'm going to put this one in solid here. It was BSD's first win in the UFC, but I got to be real, man. Even though he had so much control, even though it was a great sub, he threatened a couple of submissions throughout the whole fight here. It was a nice finish. It was pretty early on, relatively here. Yep, there we go once again with that bullshit. Nice to see him get a finish. Nice to see him get a win and show off a bit of his well-rounded skill set. But I gotta be honest, man, the guy his opponent was 0-3 in the UFC, and it was a win, but it just seems like there are 100, well, not really, but there's 100 more wins to us that BSD has had better than this. So solid, it was a win, but nothing crazy in the grand scheme of his career. Up next to Paddy Pimblett versus Kazula Vargas, bro. Okay, that sounds like some foreign-ass total drama character. And even though this isn't the greatest level of comp in the world, you know, kind of another guy, this guy went 1-3 in his UFC run, which, you know what I'm saying, man. It's hard to rate that, especially compared to the other fights I'm about to put in the great tier joining this one, but I'm gonna put this in great because I feel like it was the version of the win that BSD just got, but just more impressive. Like, it was in round 1, and ultimately just a bit, you know, like, Ferguson made it a little bit scrappy, but it was just nothing really competitive. Like, Paddy pretty much just dunked him down, was able to hold him there, and then eventually got a really tight rear naked choke, and the crowd went wild, man. It was like a deafening pop, okay? You know when you're like in assembly in like 4th grade, and they got the jumbo speakers and they're blasting and you're like kind of like shook up as a kid. You're like, how is this in pain? Like, why the fuck is this hurting? I thought we were supposed to be joining in laughter and shit. Whatever the fuck. What the fuck? Slick finish, got it done in round 1, and ultimately it was just a really crazy Paddy hometown win. Might not, you know, there's a good argument to put this in solid, but at the end of the day, I'll stick with great for this one for Paddy. Up next to BSD versus Gabriel Miranda. Got a round 2 KO here and 3 knockdowns in, and I'm gonna put this one in great for BSD, man. Like, this was brutal as all fuck, man. Like, this is when BSD really started to get that full violence kind of reputation here. Shout out, by the way. BSD was beating the fuck out of him like it was like Roy Mustang when he finally caught up to Envy after he killed the one best friend or whatever, and he starts doing all the snappy shit. BSD had an absolute beatdown, similar to Paddy's last one, especially in this tier. Like, it was a hometown win. The crowd was insane, man. Like, every shot, even just like a slight knee to the body that BSD was landing, the crowd was like, hey, hey, you know what I'm saying, bro? It was amazing to hear. It was amazing to see, and just a very dominant performance by BSD, and just made him crumble very early into the second. I'll put this one in the great tier. Up next to Paddy Pimblett versus Jordan Leavitt. I'm gonna put this one here. Hey, happy Pride Month, by the way. All right, bro, I gotta do a little bit of the shout out, I guess. Is it still June? Yeah, it's still fucking June. All right, fair. I'm gonna put this win against Leavitt here in the solid tier. Leavitt made it scrappy. Leavitt kind of gave him a fair share of problems in the scrambles. Leavitt actually landed more takedowns on him. Leavitt was almost, you know, barely behind on strikes. And ultimately, even though it was just a pretty clear Paddy win, especially with a nice rear naked choke to close it off halfway through the second, it was hard fought. You know what I mean? Like, Leavitt was giving him a bit of adversity, and this just wasn't a clean win. And Leavitt is decent competition, but at the end of the day, it was a nice way to get past a gatekeeper, but nothing really crazy in Paddy's career, man. He looked, again, very hittable on the feet. Leavitt was able to out-scramble him at points, and ultimately, I feel like even though Paddy was really threatening that sub the whole time and eventually got it, I think his last one was a bit more impressive, even though over worse comp. So I'm gonna put this one in the solid tier. Nothing wrong with it. A win's a win, but yeah. Up next to BSD versus Ismail Bonfim. He's still decent competition. You know what I mean? Like, the guy's a good fighter, and I feel like BSD at this point now, he's on a 4-fight win streak. Now he's just getting finish. And I know Paddy's in a similar position, but man, dude, Benoit was hunting for heads, and he just seemed so well-rounded, man. He just seemed like he was building so much momentum, whatever the hell it is. Was able to take him down, hold him down, and eventually got a slick rear naked choke, man. We're full of it in this video. We're full of the rear naked chokes in this video. Selling them like it's a little ice cream shop we got up in here, okay? Selling them like it's like Oprah giving away all the free cars up in here, okay? Selling it like it's the Geico Lizard in a little bit of a commercial in the mid-2000s. It's like one of those things where I kind of talk too long about the analogy that I kind of forget what we're actually talking about. Oh yeah, Benoit versus Bonfim here. I'm gonna put it in the solid tier, okay? Definitely a good win. Definitely Benoit showing off his entire skill set throughout the past few fights, but at the end of the day, just nothing crazy. Impressive, slick with it, all went down in round 1, but yeah, I'll just put this one in the solid tier here. Let's do 2 Benoit ones in a row here to kind of even it out. Him versus Thiago Moises here, and I'm pretty sure he just got cut from the UFC, so rest in peace to one of the ultimate gatekeepers here, but I am gonna put this one in the great tier. Dude, this was a beatdown once again in his hometown crowd, okay? You just felt bad for Moises at one point, but ultimately in round 1, he was kind of hurting Benoit a bit. This is where we kind of really started to get to know the striking vulnerabilities. Like, he doesn't have the greatest head movement. He is a bit slow compared to some of these other lightweights. He kind of does keep his hands pretty low at times, and at the end of the day, you kind of saw that against Moises in glimpses in round 1, but he still outstruck him like 4-1 here. He did face a little bit of adversity, BSD, but at the end of the day, he got a nasty finish at the end of the second round here, man, just due to the sheer amount of volume, aggression, and just was beating the fuck out of Moises. So I'm gonna put this one in the great tier. Another gate that Benoit just bashed open. Up next to the almighty and all-knowing and all-cursed, okay, you like a little bit of that? I don't even know what that was. It's Paddy Pimblett versus Jared Gordon here. I gotta put this in a bad showing from Paddy, bro. I just gotta say what it is, man. Like, this is one of the rare instances where I do these types of videos and I put a win in bad showing. I don't know if I've ever fucking done that. Bad show, very bad show. I'm so sorry.
You know who else does terrible impressions, bro?
I just feel like we all kind of had that feeling in the air, you know, during, afterwards, even a couple years later, that this was a bit of a robbery, okay? The fact that it was unanimous decision is a bit crazy here. The fact that it was just, it seemed like all the judges just had it kind of clearly for Paddy, and I think a lot of people watching, you know, you could look on Verdict, you could be sitting with Rogan across him from the little Texas studio he's got going on. You could be watching with your boys. You could be watching with John Anik himself. Why not, right? We could have a bit of a ball off. At the end of the day, I think most people watching this thought thought it was a robbery. You even hear analysts that work for the UFC or former fighters that when they talk about Paddy's performances in the past, when the Gordon one comes up, even they, you know, they say it how it is. You know, a lot of people feel that Paddy lost this fight, and he didn't get outstruck, but he landed the much less significant strikes throughout. Gordon was kind of rocking him a decent amount, man. Again, that upwards chin of Paddy, man. And the fact that Gordon got a couple of takedowns in, like, I don't know, just a bit of a robbery. And this is kind of just one of those performances where I think Paddy has grown a lot from this and has definitely had it become less of a storm cloud hanging over his head, but it still did happen. So I'm going to put this one in bad showing despite the win and despite it being over Jared Gordon, who is notoriously known for making scrappy split decisions. And, you know, we love Jared Gordon on this channel. Up next to Benoit Saint-Denis versus Matt Frevola. I gotta put this one in great, son. Like, the fact that this was UFC 295, where it was just a card of violence, 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 finish, finish, finish. Benoit was one of the cherries on top, man. Look at the picture. Look at the picture I chose for the tier list. Oh my lord, bro. The power that this guy can generate from anywhere was crazy. It was a nasty head kick KO. It was like 90 seconds into the fight, and it was just continuing the absolute amazing momentum that the card was building. I feel like to open up the main card, I think this was. So yeah, and this was Benoit right before he started getting to becoming a really kind of well-known name amongst people that are watching every weekend or every month or whatever the fuck. And man, he got a really big fight after this we're about to get to. I'm gonna put this one in great. This is kind of one of the ones where Frevola's not the craziest level of comp, but he's a gritty veteran and he's got some crafty wins in his own right. So I'll put this one in great. Up next, let's just do Benoit Saint-Denis versus Dustin Poirier. I'm gonna put this in loss with moments. I don't think it was a bad showing from BSD. And I also think that this was a massive level of competition. And I think it's easy to write that off now because Benoit's back on a win streak. And the fact that we look at those betting odds and BSD was like a 2-to-1. I think in some books it was a 3-to-1 favorite. And in retrospect, that's outrageous. Like, Poirier's gotten wins before, during, and after this that are incredible. Poirier is one of the best to ever do it without becoming an actual undisputed champ. Poirier is just a massive step up in competition from Matt Frevola. You know what I'm saying? Poirier was just too good of a striker, and even though he did get outstruck here and he did have to face some adversity and couldn't quite get the gilly he was being silly with, Benoit did have a decent amount of moments here, man. Okay, again, outstruck him, was able to take him down a couple of times, even threatened a submission here and there, but ultimately Poirier just showed the striking differential, the experience differential, and I guess the power differential here, man. Poirier beat the fuck out of him, all right? I'm gonna put this one in a loss with moments for BSD. Up next to Paddy Pimblett versus Tony Ferguson. I'll just put this one in solid here. I think there's a fair argument for great, but this was just the ghost of Tony Ferguson, as we like to say. And I feel like even though Tony is one of the legends of the lightweight division here, all due respect, it feels like he was the ghost of Christmas future, or Christmas past, whatever the fuck it is, for this fight, man. And Paddy was able to knock him down in the first round, was able to get a nasty flying knee in there, and just a nasty 50-punch combination while he was at it. And then eventually carried that momentum into the second round, third round, was able to double the amount of strikes he landed against Tony. Again, had a pretty significant knockdown in the first. And this was the iconic but sad as hell in retrospect fight where Tony had David Goggins in his corner, all right? Like, I'm pretty sure all the UFC fighters that walk out with all the celebrities are like 0-4 or some crazy shit. So it's not looking good for them when they do that voodoo in the air. You know what I'm saying? And I just really can't rate this version of Tony, even though it was an impressive performance from Paddy. So nice to see him improving the striking. Nice to see him get after it. And I appreciate the aggression he put on for us, but just not too great of a win. And I think he's had way better, you know, and we're about to get to said wins. Moving on next to BSD versus Renato Moicano. I feel like I'm going to put this one in bad showing. I know that he came back in the second round. I know that that was very impressive, even though his face was busted up, looked completely different. You know what I'm saying? Was bleeding from eye to eye, head to head. It's one head, but you know what I'm saying? Like the north to the south and shit. But Moicano was definitely a step down from Poirier, even though Moicano is another great fighter, okay? And he is a very, very crafty, a very elite, and very underratedly dangerous submission and ground and pound game, man. And we really got to see that here. And Benoit was a 2-to-1 favorite once again, but he just really could not get this one done. And I respect the grit, the heart, the recoverability in the second round, because Moicano 10-8'd him bad. Just went to show how much of a beatdown it was from the devastating ground and pound and elbows that Moicano was landing on Benoit. So a nice comeback in the second, but it was just far too little too late, and he got finished once again, but this time via doctor stoppage. So I'm just gonna put in a bad showing, okay? But I rate Moicano. You know, he just beat Chris Duncan recently. That's a good win. Yeah, I'll just put this one in the bad showing tier here, unfortunately. Up next to Paddy Pimblett versus, god damn it, Bobby King Green, motherfuckers, okay? I'm gonna put this one in the great tier. Man, I remember being at the bar and watching this with my buddies, and this was just great energy. You know, this whole main card, this whole, you know, no, the prelims actually sucked ass, but the main card was full of electric finishes and all that, man. And Paddy really stole the show because he opened, you know, when this fight got announced, he opened as like a plus 170 and he closed as like a minus 170 off the top of the dome. And I really do feel like that went to show that, you know, he was being doubted. He was not that big of a favorite, especially compared to these previous performances. And this was technically a pretty big step up in comp because King Green had beaten Tony. He'd actually had a better win over Tony Ferguson. He finished him. And at the end of the day, which is crazy to say, man, we're living in a timeline where Bobby Green submitted Tony Ferguson when Charles Oliveira couldn't. What is life? But for Paddy to go out there and earn his spot in the rankings, it just feels like an Ian Gary versus D-Rod. You know, it's not the craziest win, but it's respectable. You know, D-Rod did some crafty, underrated wins. And same thing with King Green here. Like, especially look at him now, bro. Even a couple years later, he's on like a 3-fight win streak against Unks, against prospects. It was a good win from Paddy. I get that it was dumb as hell for Green to try and take him down. That was low fight IQ. But for Paddy to get a round one finish like that, and for his hardest opponent to be his most impressive performance, I do have to rate that, okay? Striking looks solid, nice calf kicks, and again, eventually got a very crafty triangle at the very end of the first round, or halfway through the first round. So yeah, I'll put this one in great here. I was impressed by this win, and same with the one after. Up next to BSD versus Kyle Prepolec. It was a round 2 submission here. I am gonna put this one in the solid tier. Like, I have been kind of on and off rating competition here, or levels of competition here, strength of schedule, if you will, for ranking these guys' fights. But with Prepolec, man, it's just such a step down from a Poirier, Moicano, even Thiago Moises, even Ismael Bonfim, even Matt Frevola. You know what I'm saying, man? Like, Prepolec had been cut from the UFC for years, and I think it was a nice entryway to get Benoit's confidence back, to kind of get, I think this is right around when he changed camps as well. And again, he's done great things ever since this win. So it goes to show, man, like the guy is improving, showing off that he's still in the middle of his prime. And Prepolec isn't the greatest level of comp, but it was a nice finish. You know, Benoit in the hometown-ish crowd, he was able to quadruple him on strikes, beat the fuck out of him, take him down, submit him. Benoit is a performance bonus machine. And I think it goes to show the fact that he didn't get one for this. It was just one of those, you know, impressive, but also not really compared to his other wins he's gotten at the UFC level, especially, you know what I'm saying? So I'll just put this one in solid. A win's a win situation. Up next to Benoit Saint-Denis versus Mauricio Ruffy. This might be a hot take. I understand even putting this all the way down in solid, but this is Hall of Fame for me because the way people were writing up Benoit, I mean, me included, I try and say, you know, at least for most fights, man, like, you don't know what's going to happen. Anything can happen. I got fooled by that Justin Gaethje versus Ilya shit, all right? They got me once again, all right? It was like a Zhang Minyan and Johnny Walker situation, but most of the damn time, you know that anything can happen. You know, even a plus 700 underdog has a solid chance of winning on any given night. That's how the sport works. It's beautiful. We as fans love to see it, right? But with this, man, even though Benoit was only a plus 170, it just felt like most people were picking him. Most people were saying Ruffy by domination. Benoit doesn't have it anymore. He got fucked up by Poirier, fucked up by Moicano, and Ruffy's undefeated. Ruffy's undefeated in the UFC as well, and Ruffy's a finished machine. Ruffy's the cleaner striker. Ruffy was supposed to go out there and be like Luffy, and in the end, he just couldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? And I like Ruffy a lot. I like both these guys a lot. I'm a big fan of both these guys, but I just gotta be real, man. Like, Ruffy's done great things since this. Like, Fazeeva's not that behind BSD in terms of level of comp, and the fact that Ruffy was able to just beat him and show improvements in that fight, man, right after, this is a good win, okay? Benoit doing a little shush after and shit, and just completely aura farming in France, like a win he desperately really needed. Ended the hype of Ruffy, which he had just gotten back recently, so it goes to show it's a win that ages well. And for Benoit to go out there and play it smart, hold his own on the feet, but ultimately try and drag Ruffy down and expose him where he's vulnerable, and where, let's be honest, not a lot of guys have tested him in the grand scheme of his short and sweet UFC career. So Benoit, a win he desperately needed. It was impressive, nice finish. I know he didn't get the bonus. I know that's kind of hypocritical what I just said about Prepolec, but way bigger step up in comp, a bit more of that impressive finish, and just a win he desperately needed. And the fans went crazy for this one. Whether you're scrolling on Insta or whether you just fucking saw it live, whether you were in the arena, crazy to see. I'll put this on Hall of Fame. Up next to Paddy Pimblett versus Michael Chandler. Dude, I mean, speaking of Monkey D. Ruffy, I know that it's kind of hard to rate Chandler at this stage in the game, especially again, like the last 2 wins specifically, because he's been so inactive and just, it's tough to see for big old Chandler, man. It really is. He did kind of get fucked over by the system here, for lack of a better word. And Chandler did have moments, and Chandler was ranked number 7 in the world at this time. I'll put it in great. I'll put it in great, man, okay? I think it's easy to shit on it because it's like, how did he get a title shot based off a Chandler win? And like, oh, Chandler's so washed up. But like, it still was a version of Chandler, okay? And for Paddy to go out there and just absolutely demolish him on the feet, was able to show off nasty ground and pound. Those elbows in the second, son, were devastating, sending chills down your spine. And Chandler, he's a dog, man. He brings the dog fight out of anybody. And for Paddy to out-dog the dog, you know what I'm saying? Out-Rottweiler the Rottweiler. Be able to truly make this a passing of the guard kind of matchup. I mean, it was wild to see, man, you know? So I think Paddy was the favorite for a reason. A lot of people were picking Paddy for good reasons, but let's be honest, Chandler did have a good chance to get it done. He was only a slight underdog, and Paddy was a big step down from a Charles Oliveira. So I don't know. I still think that this was, my whole point with all this is, at the time especially, this was a pretty respectable win. It still is, but I get that it kind of ages bad for some, but I'm still going to put it in great. I think it was probably Paddy's best win or second best win. And again, he, unlike BSD, has kind of had a bit more unks on his win streak. I mean, even you could argue Gaethje at the time was a bit of an unk, but you can't really say that anymore because he just beat Poirier and Fiziev as well. You know what I mean? And Paddy. So it's just like, Paddy fought the ghost of Ferguson. Paddy fought split decision Gordon. With all due respect to Gordon, I thought he won that fight, but Paddy beat Unk Green. Paddy beat Unk Chandler. You know what I'm saying? It's just, BSD has fought kind of everybody. He's fought the prospects. He's fought the unks. He's fought that nice in between. So yeah, I don't know. You could pick and choose and rate certain things about Paddy's win streak, but I think this was probably his best win. So I'll put this one in the great tier. Speaking of unks, man, Beneil just cannot get away with catching strays, bro. I'm sorry. He's been facing the unk allegations since he came out the womb with that gray hair, bro. But with BSD versus Dariush, it was a 16-second KO. Almost doesn't get more impressive than that. It's kind of crazy when people are like, I don't know, man, Dariush should have a couple of moments. If the fight went a little longer, maybe he could have got it done. And it's like, bro, come on now, son. He had a nice calf kicker too, but let's be real here. Benoit absolutely decimated him, but because I feel like, and again, here we go with the on and off, me kind of rating certain aspects of a fight thing, because I just rated Chandler in great, even though he's a fucking unk on a losing streak. I know Dariush is an unk on a losing streak, but I just feel like we just saw this one coming. A lot of people were picking Benoit by first round KO. And if you're confidently picking first round KO for something, you kind of see there's something in the air. There's something in the styles. There's something in the mystic ball or whatever. Like that 8-ball with the dice inside. You shake it and it gives you your destiny or some shit. I don't know what that's called, bro. But I just feel like BSD being a massive favorite, a lot of people just seeing it, man. Like of course Dariush could have tested him in the grappling. He did that a much better job with Killian Salkill recently, but still got knocked out, man. Charles knocked him out. Armin knocked him out. Moicano knocked him down, and Moicano was not known for that. So it's just like, the chin of Dariush has really cost him at the tail end of his career. I feel bad for the guy, but this was an impressive win to watch. It was an impressive win on paper. Nice addition to the win streak. Nice way to move up in the rankings. Nice little 100K bonus that he got from this. Or no, it was still 50K. I'm sorry. But still, man, I'm going to put this one in solid. I'm going to put it in solid. My whole point with all this, I'm going to put it in solid. I get an argument for Hall of Fame. I get an argument for great. I'm going to put it in solid. You know, I feel like we just kind of saw this one coming to a greater extent than some of the other ones I'm going to put up in great, I guess. I don't know. Not that it was lackluster. It was fun to watch. It was crazy to see. I feel bad for Dariush, but yeah. I'll just put it in solid here. I think Benoit's had greater wins. Up next to the last for each man, we got Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje. I'm going to put this one in the loss with moments, man. I think that's pretty fair considering that some people had it 48-47 for this one, considering the fact that Gaethje just beat Poirier, who a lot of people, me included, still feel that Poirier is a big step up from a Paddy Pimblett. So, man, dude, for Paddy to hold his own better than Rafael Fiziev did, better than Poirier did, I think that's pretty crazy to see. And I think you got to rate that from Paddy, who chose not to use one of his greatest weapons in the grappling. And I know that he's pretty unsuccessful a lot of time with his takedown entries, but his actual submission game, his actual fight IQ on the ground is pretty damn good. And the fact that he was just striking with Gaethje, whether you can argue to put a show on for the fans, whether you could argue it was for pride, whether to argue he just really believed he could outstrike the striker like he said he was going to do, I have no idea. But from a fan's perspective, this was an amazing fight. One of the best main events I've ever seen in this decade. But ultimately, I just can't even really put it in like Gaethje fucked him up at the same time. It was competitive. It was fun. Paddy took a round or two for sure, especially that third round. The uppercut was money. All right. But Gaethje knocked him down a couple of times. Gaethje was able to he just showed off the experience differential, man. He was getting a bit reckless with it, but just the Rufus we know and love, but was still able to just have a win that aged nicely, okay? It was a war, lots of volume and output thrown, lots of big bombs thrown. Paddy looked good, especially like showing off improved striking, but still a loss, you know? So I'm gonna put this in loss with moments. There you go, mind fucking blown. Last one we got here, Benoit Saint-Denis defeating Dan Hooker. I'm gonna put this one in great. I rate Dan, man. It's really hard to beat Dan Hooker. It's really hard to control him like that. It's really hard to eventually just take him out of there. You know, he is an absolute war of a veteran, or veteran of a war. Okay, dude, he's gritty as all hell. He's crafty as all hell. He's the technically better kickboxer. He's had more experience. He's had greater wins. And I just feel like that this was a good win, a great win from Benoit here, man. Like, just did it right after Arman did, and I get that Arman did it in a bit better fashion. He's the one that did it first, and this is, you know, Dan Hooker on a pretty quick turnaround, but it's still Dan Hooker, bro. He took the fight for a reason. He took it knowing he could win. He wasn't that big of an underdog. And I feel like that for Benoit to go out there and triple him on strikes, to be able to go out there and take him down, threaten to sub a couple of times, and be able to just change his face, man, beat him up, and continue to be the absolute finishing machine he is against his hardest level of comp to date that he got a win over. Shit, man, I'm gonna put this one in great. I really do rate this win a pretty good amount. And that's gonna be it for this video, boys. Like, who do we got winning? I really don't know. Like, I feel like that Paddy is a pretty good underdog to invest in. He's only a slight dog, not even 2-1. We'll see, man. I'm really excited for this fight. BSD's the more well-rounded fighter, a bit more of the finisher. But at the end of the day, I feel like that Paddy is a bit underrated with his striking, and he's really hard to finish. He's got a chin made of steel, okay? And he might have the pure grappling advantage here if the fight does get down to it. So, yeah, I'm going to put this one here in the amazing as fuck tier. I love this fight, bro. That was stupid as hell, okay? Love this fight. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know what you think of my rankings. Let me know who you think is going to win the fight, and I appreciate y'all a lot, man. So, Don Smoke MMA here. You guys are the best. Appreciate y'all. And I hope you guys have a good one. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And I hope you, yes, you, have a great day.